Brand New is a rock band from Long Island, New York many have held close at some point in their life. Formed in the year 2000, the band and their 5 studio albums have been highly praised for their bold, artistic statements. Led by Jesse Lacey, the legacy Brand New carved has been largely brought into question following the 2017 allegations against Lacey. We'll get to this later, but for now, let's start from the beginning and focus on the music, influence, and finally, the unfortunate end of Brand New. The origins of Brand New date back to the late 1990s when Jesse Lacey, Garrett Turney, and Brian Lane were in the post-hardcore band Rookie Lot. Vincent Accardi, who came from the band One Last Goodbye, was then recruited to become a member of Brand New. Jesse was also a member of Taking Back Sunday for a brief time. All 4 were prominent members of the Long Island hardcore scene, so going into Brand New, they already had a great deal of experience. Brand New became the primary focus for its lineup, and the opportunity for success was at their fingertips almost immediately. After their second show, the band was signed to Triple Crown Records. This led to the band's first demo and eventually their debut full-length in 2001. The band's debut came in the form of Your Favorite Weapon, released on October 9, 2001. Recorded at multiple studios including Nada Studios, The Magic Shop in Manhattan, and Sapone Productions, this album began the band's tenure on an explosive note. Featuring fast and loud guitars, lyrics of heartbreak, and angst-ridden young adulthood, Your Favorite Weapon is a product of its time, but it boasts some truly memorable cuts. The shower scene opens the record up with fast-tempo pop-punk fury, making a solid impression. You'll have some snarky and downright angry cuts such as 70x7, while the record's lead single, Jude Law in a Semester Abroad, demonstrates a more straightforward catchy sound with heartbreak and jealousy written all over it. There's plenty of songs here worth seeking out. Sound-wise, it has a strong smell of early 2000s nostalgia, and is all around a fun listen, aside from a couple serious moments, such as the No Seatbelt song and Soco Amaretto Lime. Your Favorite Weapon was a moderate success, selling 50,000 copies, receiving solid reviews, and with its lead single in rotation on MTV2, a multitude of new fans had found their next favorite band. Brand New would release a split single with Safety and Numbers the following year, before devoting their time to their next full-length record, which came out in 2003. Brand New's sophomore album, Deja Entendu, came out on June 17, 2003, and was recorded at Reflection Sound Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina, throughout the winter months of 2003. Immediately, you notice the band has taken time to mature, and clearly honed their craft substantially since their debut. The group was firing on all cylinders at this point, having played together for long enough to feel comfortable, flowing off each other in such a natural way. Jesse Lacey would regularly write songs on his acoustic guitar in his bedroom when away from the band. Deja Entendu, which is French for Already Heard, was also a commercial success, being the true beginning of the band's mainstream attention. The record's 2 singles, Sick Transit Gloria, Glory Fades, and The Quiet Things That No One Ever Knows, both charted and have since become staples of 2000s emo. These tracks really proved the band's talents, and many moments on Deja Entendu demonstrated Brand New's introspective side that would only further be explored on later albums. Okay, I Believe You, But My Tommy Gun Don't, along with The Boy Who Blocked His Own Shot, quickly became fan favorites from Deja Entendu, solidifying the growing significance of Brand New within their scene. While Me vs. Maradona vs. Elvis, due to its dark subject matter, has left fans torn, considering the close parallel between the lyrics and what Jesse Lacey would be accused of and admit to later on. Deja Entendu would be certified gold a few years after its release, along with a warm critical reception, being hailed as one of the best albums of the 2000s. The bar was now incredibly high, and no one quite expected the heights Brand New's third album would reach. Following a 20-minute holiday EP after Deja Entendu in 2003, Brand New took a bit of a break from the extensive touring and needed time to re-energize. In 2004, Jesse Lacey told Chart magazine the pressure for the band's next album was causing a great deal of depression, but also said he writes his best songs while in that fragile mental state. The band then signed to Interscope Records around this time after a quote-unquote bidding war. Throughout 2004 and 2005, songs were quietly written for the upcoming album, before recording finally began at the tail end of 2005. The album was primarily worked on in Oxford, Mississippi, with producer Mike Sapone, who also produced Your Favorite Weapon. In January 2006, 9 songs recorded for LP3 were leaked online, which soured Jesse Lacey and deterred the band a bit. Brand New would record a batch of brand new songs and re-record others, continuing the creation process of their next album. The band would begin their first tour in 18 months in June of 2006, debuting new songs live and making mention of the new album's completion on June 20th, 2006. Brand New's third record came in the form of The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me, released on November 21st, 2006. This was a huge departure from earlier works, showcasing a truly dark and reflective side of the band, packaged in such a brooding way that completely erased prior pop-punk tendencies. Death and grief affecting members of Brand New gave way to the bleak lyrics of existentialism and loss. Limousine is about the death of 7-year-old Katie Flynn, who was killed by a drunk driver in the band's hometown of Long Island. This is an emotional high point of Brand New, making it known that they were now a serious band, no longer one that writes songs about bad breakups. Other cuts like DeGosser, which is a personal favorite, along with Millstone and opener Sowing Season, continue on the path of introspection, coupled with some bone-chillingly haunting lyrics, shouts of rage and sadness, and tight instrumentation you can tell was slaved over for months. Jesus Christ, released as a single along with Sowing Season, became the most known cuts here, quickly making fans eager to hear them live frequently. The Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me is widely considered the band's defining record, combining the passion of earlier albums with a more down-to-earth style, expressing intense emotion in every note. The record charted on Billboard, peaking at number 31 and selling 60,000 copies in its first week, and was a massive success critically. It's been said to be the record that saved the band, getting them back on course but with a new sound that enabled them to experiment more. 4 years would pass while Brand New was mostly silent. In 2008, Brand New started their own record label, Procrastinate Music Traders. Shortly after, in late 2008, the band announced they'd been recording their fourth record since earlier that year, wrapping up some months later after about 12 months of work. The band headlined Reading and other festivals to promote LP4, premiering a couple new songs. On August 11, 2009, the record's lead single, At the Bottom, was released, exciting fans who knew the new album was right around the corner. On September 22, 2009, Brand New's fourth album, Daisy, was released. Quite different from the band's previous effort, fans tended to be more mixed on Daisy, while critics still praised the effort as challenging and breathtaking. Daisy was a record in which Vincent Accardi and Jesse Lacey shared writing duties, combining their writing styles for an intense listen. Featuring cuts like At the Bottom, Sink, and Bought a Bride, these songs are contemplative but loud and abrasive at the same time, showing Brand New in their most intimate and powerful light. The record debuted at number 6 on the Billboard 200, selling 46,000 copies in its first week. Brand New was officially a force to be reckoned with. Each album they released was just as or more successful than the previous. It was clear that the band had a large and devoted fan base developed by this point that would only grow with time. Even though members rarely gave interviews, rarely made music videos, and took a long time to release new music, fans didn't care and were extremely loyal to their favorite band. Over the next 7 years, Brand New's activity was rather sporadic. Following 2009's divisive Daisy, the band spent a lot of time in silence, not giving fans much of any idea of what they were up to, though they continued playing live shows. In 2010, the band officially announced they were without a label after fulfilling their contract with Interscope Records. There were a number of releases Brand New would deliver from 2015 to 2016, put out on their own label, that set the stone for the next era of the band. In 2015, the band officially released their leaked demos from 2006 on Procrastinate Music Traders. Earlier that year, a standalone single entitled Monet with B-side Out of Range was released on April 13, 2015, along with a music video, which was an exceedingly rare move for the band. The following year, in 2016, Brand New was very active, releasing another single, I Am a Nightmare, on May 17, 2016, which had a more upbeat sound. 3 Demos Reworked was released on July 15, 2016, featuring 3 songs from the original leaked demos, slightly cleaned up and repackaged. Finally, after all those years of promising a new record, it was now clear Brand New was up to something, and fans were ecstatic. It was no secret that Brand New had gone on record numerous times throughout 2016 and 2017, saying their breakup was inevitable, and 2018 would be their final year. Shirts were even made in anticipation of their breakup. Things wouldn't quite go as planned though. But in 2017, Brand New would deliver their long-awaited 5th and final studio record that would simply blow everyone's minds. Entitled Science Fiction, released on August 17, 2017, it's 1 hour of quite literally some of the best material the band ever made, this late into their career no less. Most agreed, as science fiction shot up to number 1 on the Billboard 200, selling just shy of 60,000 copies in its first week. For current standards, a time in which no one actually buys music, that is a very strong number. The album quickly fell off the charts entirely, but regardless, a rock band achieving such in 2017 was a miracle. Music-wise, science fiction is very reminiscent of The Devil and God and Daisy for its tackling of dark subject matter, self-reflection, and creativity and delivery. The record features these very eerie, vintage recordings of mental health evaluations that really set the tone well and gets you invested right away. It's dark and utterly void of any semblance of brightness, creating its own world exploring morality, growing old, and mental health. Tracks like Can't Get It Out, which was a promotional single, are more alternative rock leaning, while Could Never Be Heaven and In the Water are quiet, self-reflective, poetic, and nearly cinematic in their dramatic delivery. The opener, Lit Me Up, is haunting, beginning things on a high note of tension. Same Logic, Teeth, is depressing but so catchy, really highlighting the genius writing of science fiction. The closer, Batter Up, is the best way to conclude the career of Brand New, and ending the nearly 20-year-long chapter of the band. Fans were exceptionally happy, critics alike, many praising science fiction as the band's best record, period. The band was wrapping up, playing their final shows, and everything was going as planned. But now let's get real and dive into the allegations surrounding Jesse Lacey. If you don't want to hear about this, click away now. In late 2017, frontman of Brand New, Jesse Lacey, was accused of sexual misconduct occurring in the early to mid-2000s. Jesse quickly addressed the allegations, confessing to what he did, and issued an apology. Now let's be really real for a minute. What Jesse did wasn't right. There's no justification for his behavior, and there were very real victims. He clearly knows what he did was wrong. A number of Brand New songs play out as a confession to this behavior, so clearly, his actions ate away at him, and there is guilt and remorse there. To reiterate, what Jesse Lacey did was not right in any sense, and there is no way you can view his behavior as acceptable. But to give some credit where it's due, Jesse at least owned up to his actions and apologized, unlike many who have simply disappeared from social media because they know that their career is over. He had the balls to admit to it rather than hide or threaten legal action. This is a man who can change and live a healthy life. Now that that's out of the way, when speaking of Brand New, the music must come first. The vast majority of Brand New fans never praised Jesse as a human being to begin with, rather just enjoyed the music and connected to it. The person creating the art, to me, should be separated from the art itself. Good music needs to be praised for being good music. It's that simple. I don't agree with the publications in 2017 that left Brand New off their lists entirely, pretending the band didn't release one of the best records of that year. There are other members of Brand New that did nothing wrong, but due to the connection to Lacey, the whole band must be condemned due to something he did in the early 2000s. What he did was deplorable, don't get me wrong, but do you really have to burn all of your Brand New merchandise you spent your own hard-earned money on? We all feel differently about this, and especially for those who have been the victim of sexual misconduct. I understand wanting to disassociate from the band. There's no black and white to this situation. We all feel differently. It's simply a sad ending for one of the best acts of the new millennium that paved the way for a multitude of bands that came after. Nowadays, when Brand New is brought up in conversation, there's always this awkward vibe because the first thing we think about is Jesse and what he did. While awareness is very important against this type of behavior, Brand New needs to be remembered for their music and their music only. It's just that good, and it's genuinely saddening the actions of Lacey has all but tarnished the legacy of a tremendous band. Jesse Lacey did horrible things, but is it possible he's grown as a person, spent years self-reflecting, and realizes the error of his ways? I think it's entirely possible, but the situation is complicated, and personal feelings tend to take over. In the end, I'd be lying if I said my view of Jesse Lacey hasn't shifted, but as for the music, it's still just as incredible as it was before the allegations came to light. You can't deny that good music is good music. I really don't have a good conclusion. All I can say is Brand New has great music, and Jesse Lacey has a very disturbing past. You can't justify his behavior, but you can justify a love for good music. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know I touched on some very, very deep stuff, but it had to be said. I still love Brand New. I don't love Jesse Lacey. That's where it's at. You don't have to be a fan of members of a band to like their music. That's simply my opinion, and I know a lot of people are going to disagree, and that's fine. But please be constructive in the comments, and yeah, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you all later. Bye.